What do different dosages of magic mushrooms actually feel like? Well, it's one of the most commonly asked questions I get, and I'm going to be addressing that to you on this episode today of Microdose U. Welcome. I'm Dr. Dave. Thanks so much for being here.
Enter the world of magic mushrooms with Microdose U.
Hey there, welcome back. I am Dr. Dave. I really appreciate you, and especially all new listeners and viewers to this podcast, Microdose U. I really welcome you, appreciate you. And like I say all the time, if you weren't here, I'd be speaking into an empty mic to nobody. So I really appreciate you being here from wherever you are in this world. And today's episode is going to be great because I'm going to share with you from smallest to largest what it actually feels like, what each dosage actually feels like. And it's everybody's different, so it's not going to be exact. It's not an exact science. It's not medical advice. And I'm sharing with you what it felt like to me. Now, of course, depending on the variety of magic mushrooms you're consuming, or many other circumstances, it might differ a little bit. But it's from me, and again, it's going to be pretty accurate, fairly accurate for you as well. I will tell you that I've got some really important links on microdoseu.com. It's all spelled out, microdose, and just the letter U on the end of that, microdoseu.com. And as I've been saying, this month, June, we're running a special tuition for our one-on-one course to help you get into microdosing. If you just don't even know where to start, or you're struggling with your microdosing, or something's not working, Dr. Denise and I have a 10-week course that's a comprehensive, one-on-one, customized just for you to get you exactly to where you want to be. And we're running a $400 off of your regular tuition on this course. The month of June, you've got to enroll and get started during the month of June, but you got some time left, but it is ticking away a little bit. So if you're thinking about this, I would recommend jumping on this as opposed to procrastinating. Because procrastinating, so many things in your life you can procrastinate with, and none of them are good. If it's things you need to get done, why not get them done? Why not do the right thing for your health, your life, and the way you feel every single day? So I'm not just talking about the course, but anything that you might be thinking about doing or getting rid of in your life. Let's make June the month we're going to stop procrastinating, stop saying, well, I might do this, I may do this, well, it's possible I might do this. No. Remember, the beginning of this year, I said, this is your year. I said, this is the year that you are definitely going to change, and we're going to make changes in your life. And the course that I'm giving with Dr. Denise is one of the ways you can do that. But you don't have to. But remember, the year is almost half over now. What have you done? I hope you don't say nothing. I hope you don't say, well, I'm thinking about it. I hope you say you're really working hard this year on changing your life, and again, the way you feel every single day. Check out microdoseu.com. A lot of important links there. I won't go into what they all are. It's not, I won't spend time on that, but during this episode, but go there and check them out because they're all important. I'm sorry. And also the show notes of every episode. I've got important links for you to go to that just help you out, help you with your life. So please take advantage of everything I've got for you. I don't charge for most of it. The course, of course, I have to charge for because it's very comprehensive. And we're doing this with a doctor of psychology who's well-versed in plant medicine. Where else do you get this stuff? Nowhere. The answer is nowhere other than here at Microdose U. Okay, let's get started. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead from smallest to largest, just call off some dosages of magic mushrooms. Now, remember, these are always ground, dried, powdered magic mushrooms. So again, it's the most reliable, because if you just bite off a piece of a mushroom somewhere, the amount, the psilocybin is not uniformly distributed throughout the mushroom. So you might be getting a whole lot more than you bargained for, or very little, or somewhere in between. So when you grind your mushroom, remember, and typically grind them and put them in either capsule or tea, or buy them that way. That's the most uniformly distributed way and the most predictable. So let's start off with the absolute smallest. Now you can go smaller, but to me, there's no reason to really go smaller. This is really tiny. 50 milligrams. Now, during this episode, also, I want you to be good at converting milligrams to grams, because a lot of times we go back and forth between milligrams and grams. So 50 milligrams, how many grams would that be? If somebody said to you, how many grams are you microdosing? How many grams of magic mushrooms are you microdosing per day or per time you do them? 50 milligrams. What is that? How many grams? Do you know? I'll give you a second. 50 milligrams is how many grams? Okay, 50 milligrams is 0.05 grams. It's not 0.5, it's not half, it's 0.05. So it's a very, very tiny amount. And it's the smallest microdose that I really believe you should be doing. Now, somebody was messaging me the other day and told me they want to do like 0.03, which is like 30 milligrams or 25 or 30 milligrams. To me, that's like super, super, super tiny. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It might be at the point where you're not even going to get any benefit. It's just super, super small. So we'll start at 50, although I like to say that a beginning microdose is generally 50, but maybe even 100 milligrams, which we'll get into that in a second. So 50 milligrams, what do you feel? My answer is not much. That doesn't mean it's not working, but you don't feel much. You really won't feel anything, whether you definitely won't feel psychedelic effects. When I say psychedelic effect, I'm talking about, seeing some visuals, um, dreamy type situations, closed eye, open eye visuals. You won't see anything like that. At the very most, you might feel just like a little bit more relaxed and comfortable, but at 50 milligrams, you might not even feel that. Again, some people like to use that as a beginning microdose, and that's fine, but you should definitely titrate your way up to another point. I'm going to be doing a video and an audio podcast on that pretty soon, so stand by on that one. The next one up is 100 milligrams. How many grams is that? 100 milligrams. How many grams do you think that is? If you said 0.1, you are absolutely correct. 0.1 gram is 100 milligrams. Now, what do you feel after ingesting 100 milligrams or 0.1 gram? You may feel good. And when I say good, you're not going to feel high. You're not going to feel stoned. You can get on with your regular routine, but you might feel just a little bit, how can I say this? Just a little bit better, a little bit more confident, a little bit more mindful with 100 milligrams. Again, it's not much. And again, you're not going to be seeing any kind of visuals, or you're not going to feel stoned or high or anything like that. At least, again, remember, I'm giving you from my perspective. Everybody's different. So whenever you try anything that's 100 milligrams or more, always do it the very, very, very first time you ever do it. Make sure you do it at a time where you don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to be working or watching after kids. But again, 0.1 or 100 milligrams is still really tiny. Let's jump up to the next dose, and I'm going to skip up to 200 milligrams. 0.2 grams, 200 milligrams. What does that feel like? This is the point where you're probably going to feel like something. And I say something because something is different for everybody. But what's that something possibly could be? Again, more confident, more focused. It could get to the point where things seem a little bit more in tune. Colors are maybe a little bit more defined, but they're not going to be brighter really with 200 milligrams, but maybe just a little bit more defined, a little bit more focused, a little bit more mindful, and maybe a feeling of a little bit lighter and better than you would if you hadn't ingested. Again, it's unlikely you're going to feel stoned or high with 200 milligrams, but we're getting to the point where you are going to probably feel something is going on in a good way, in a very, very good way. From 200 milligrams or 0.2 grams, let's now jump up to 0.4 or 400 milligrams. Now, the high end of a microdose is, I like to say, generally 300 milligrams, but I can't stop and describe every single interval at 100 milligrams because, again, it's so subtle of a difference. Let's jump up. Let's just like shoe sizes. Once you get to size 13 or 13, they're not going in half sizes anymore. You just jump up in larger increments. And I never understood that. If you need a size 13 and a half shoe, you really can't find that anywhere. It's either a 13 or a 14, but here you can do anything you want. But that doesn't mean I have to describe every increment at 100 milligrams. So let's go to 400 milligrams. Again, that's outside, it's above a microdose. A microdose being the highest, I like to say is 250 to 300 milligrams. So we're a little bit above a microdose, but still, um, I call 400 milligrams. I'm going to call that 400 to 500 milligrams. Let's do those together. I call that a museum dose. And what that means is you're going to definitely feel something. 400 to 500 milligrams, you're going to feel something. You're probably going to feel a little bit of a high, maybe similar to a cannabis high, similar but different. Meaning, how is, and again, it's very hard to put some of these feelings into words, but you're not going to feel like stoned, but you may feel a little bit stoned, but that stoned feeling will be more airy, light, floating a little bit more. Again, I don't think you're going to really be seeing any psychedelic effects. And again, psychedelic effects meaning visuals or tripping or anything like that. But you will start to feel a sense of maybe a little bit of a sense of euphoria, if that makes sense at all. Good euphoria. It's not scary. It's not dangerous. It's just a really, really good feeling. And a museum dose, 400, 500, maybe 600 milligrams is a good dose to actually go out and go to a museum. Now, I usually like to go on a hike or something outdoors when I take a dose like that, something outdoors and just enjoy myself. And, when you get to that kind of a dose, I think it's better not to plan to drive anywhere. Although if you've experimented with it and you're very confident, again, I'm not advising that. It's probably better not to. But some people that are extremely experienced and know exactly what it's going to feel like can operate a motor vehicle with no problem. I'm not advising that. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that's necessarily a smart thing to do, but it could be doable. You're not out of it. You're just feeling a sense of euphoria and really good and ready to go to a museum or a really nice hike or just laying on a beach or being out in nature somewhere. From there, let's jump up. Now that was 400 to 500 milligrams, like again, around a half a gram, something like that. Let's jump up to a gram now. Now, again, I want to make it very clear, if I didn't say this at the beginning, that this is definitely dependent on the type of strain or the type of variety of psilocybin, your type of mushroom you're using, you're consuming, because I'm giving this pretty much for like the basic, good old standard golden teachers, which is like kind of like the yardstick, the kind of like the easy one that everybody gets, easy to get, and it's the probably one of the milder strains or species. I can never I got to remember whether which is strain or species, but it's I think it's more of a strain from what I can remember, but it's off the top of my head. Um, but if you're using something that is like a penis envy, or and that's for those of you that are brand new to this, no, this is not porn here. This is it's the shape of the mushroom that actually looks like a penis, and that's why they call it penis envy mushroom, or anything that starts with an A, like albino, anything that begins with an albino penis envy, or any type of other albino mushroom. You might want to multiply that basic dosage by 1.5. So, for example, if we're on 1 gram right now, that's where we're up to 1 gram. But if you are using albino penis envy or just even regular penis envy or something that's stronger, that 1 gram could be the equivalent of feeling like 1.5 gram. So again, I'm giving this for the typical standard golden teachers mushroom. So be aware, if you're using a stronger strain, multiply this by a little bit and make sure you understand that. Very, very important. But 1 gram typically, you're gonna feel stoned. You're gonna feel euphoric for sure. Whether you see visuals or not, this is kind of like the dividing line right now. There's a very good chance if you close your eyes, you could see some patterns, some things like that. Um, color will be more vibrant for sure, but you might not really be seeing any open eye. open eye visuals at all. You'll feel really good. Um, can you would you be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Not exist, that's not, I can't think of the word, but would you be able to just do your normal routine at 1 gram? Maybe not. You'd be able to hold a conversation easily, but would you be able to go to work? Do I advise you going to work? Do I advise you looking after your kids at 1 gram? No, I make sure you understand what 1 gram is like. Now let's go up to 1.5 grams. This is kind of the dividing line where the fun can really start. 1.5 grams. There's a very good chance you're going to be seeing, at the very least, closed eye visuals and possibly the early stages of open eye visuals. It's fun. It's relaxing. It's not scary in any way. You're not going to go into a deep psychedelic trip at 1.5 grams, but it's going to be definitely possibly somewhat of a psychedelic trip. This could be like an entry level into larger doses. And I'm not even recommending that you have to do anything larger than that at all. I mean, if you're a microdoser, you don't even have to do 1.5 grams at all. But so many of you asked me, like, what does it feel like? What does it feel like at a half a gram? What does it feel like at 1 gram, 1.5 and beyond? So I'm just trying my best to explain this to you. But you can definitely, if you're doing 1.5 grams in your house and somebody rings the doorbell, chances are you're going to be able to get up and answer the door, and chances are you'll be able to hold a conversation, and the other person might not even know what's going on. If you're near a park, again, without driving, if you're near a park, a beach, a hike, it would be really, really ideal. It would be beautiful, 1.5 grams, because it's still a pretty comfortable dose. Getting up to 2 grams and more, this is where you're definitely going to be going on somewhat of a psychedelic trip, especially at 2 grams. You're going to be most likely seeing visuals, both open eye and closed eye. You'll be just wanting to lay down and listen to music on headphones, and maybe put a blanket over you just to keep you warm and just enjoy the ride. But this is kind of the entree into the true psychedelic trip. 2 grams, 1.5 to 2 grams is a psychedelic trip, most likely. um you'll be in control, but you'll be experiencing some just wonderful feeling and colors, and it's going to be really, really beautiful. Again, it's also all about, I didn't say this at the beginning, but so much of it is about set and setting. So set means your mindset. How do you feel if you just came off of some trauma? I wouldn't really recommend necessarily doing these slightly higher doses, because it's going to be reflected. Your trauma is going to be reflected in the larger doses, and you might feel really weird. And the setting is, where are you? Are you on a beach? Are you outside in nature? Are you in your home and on a comfortable sofa listening to music? Make sure your set and setting are in control and good, wonderful, and just enjoy. Just sit back and enjoy, and let it take you where it takes you. But that's where you would feel up to 2 grams. Now, past 2 grams, as we get more and more and into the 4 and 5 grams, which are like kind of called heroic doses, that's when you could start to really feel like you've lost your ego. In other words, what that means is ego dissolution, where you're laying down, maybe you got some headphones on, maybe you're in a dark room, and it gets to the point where you don't even know who you are, where you are. You don't know that you're existing. You're just there. You're just there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Many people say that through ego dissolution or ego death is when they've had the most wonderful, powerful trips, when they come out and they feel like they've really done the most good. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I'm more of a microdoser, and I've had some incredible success in the way my life has gone and changed, just simply through microdosing, and some larger doses, like, in other words, doses in the neighborhood of half a gram up to 1.5 to 2 grams. But I never felt like I really had to go much higher than that, because I've gotten everything I've wanted out of my dosing at those levels. But for those of you that want to go into a heroic dose, just make sure Your set and setting are in control. They're what you want them to be. In other words, if you just had a horrible fight with somebody, don't go ahead and do a heroic dose, because who knows where that's going to lead you. It's going to be really weird. Make sure you're just in a really good mindset, ready for wherever the mushrooms are going to take you, because they're going to take you on a wild ride possibly. So make sure you're ready for that in your set and setting. Comfortable place, a really comfortable place. When you're doing heroic dose, you probably want to mostly be in your home or in a very comfortable place with a comfortable bed or sofa or blanket, some good music on there. And if you have to get up and use the bathroom, that's fine. But you might want to even have somebody at those very high doses. You might want to have somebody there that's just helping you along the way, somebody that's not tripping, and somebody that can help you if you get into a tough spot, or even help you to the bathroom or get you some water or whatever you might need. Um, and although some people say they've done way more than 5 grams, that's beyond the scope of what I want to talk about today, because I certainly am not experienced with that at all. And I don't really know many people that have gone way beyond 5 grams. And that's a lot. That would be a lot. So I'm not even going to cover that, because I'm just not experienced enough to even know much about that. But again, we've taken you from 0.05, which is 50 milligrams, 0.05 grams, upwards of 2 grams and more in this episode. And I really hope that gives you a really good explanation of what you can expect, what you're going to feel like, remembering that it is going to depend on the strain or variety of magic mushroom that you ingest, and it's going to depend on your set and setting. And it's going to depend on a lot of other things. Everybody is different. So again, take this as a guide, but your experience could be higher or lower than what I just described. So just use this as a guide only. This is what I have felt, and others that I know as well that I'm very close with. But again, everybody is very different. So your mileage may and will vary. But again, this is as close as I can get to help you out on this very, very good question and very commonly asked question. Okay, I think I've said it all. Remember, go to the show notes, check them out. And something very interesting, it seems like, see, for the past few months, I've been actually putting my episodes up not only on a Spotify and Apple Podcasts and audio, but I've also been throwing them up on YouTube as well. And for some reason, this is really strange, and I just can't figure this stuff out. But the YouTube viewers are now almost eclipsing the audio viewers. So I've got, maybe it's about equal right now, but the trajectory of the YouTube viewers is quicker now. So I'm guessing in a few months, I'm going to actually have more people watching me on YouTube with this podcast, these episodes, than audio. And they're both good. I love both formats. Some people just don't want to do video, and I totally get that. But other people want to see what I look like. They want to see my studio here. They want to see my, expressions when I'm talking and smiling. So that's fine too. Either way you like it, but I just wanted to thank all the YouTube viewers that are out there now that are, you guys are going crazy. I mean, you're killing it. A lot of you out there on YouTube. So thanks so much for that. I appreciate you. Every single one of you. I appreciate you wherever you're listening or watching me. I put out a brand new episode when do we do it? Every Wednesday and Friday, right? Every Wednesday and Friday, brand new episode. And as I say at the end of every single episode, I do love you. I care about you. I want to see you get to the point where you're living your dream life, living your life every single day, feeling the way you want to feel, and doing what you want to do in life. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? We only get one shot at this. I mean, if we get more than one shot, we don't know it. So in this life, where we are right now, in this realm, we got to do the best we can. I love you again. I'll say it again. Dr. Dave, I will see you in the very next episode. I promise you.